Is your local bus company serving your football team. Buses run every 10 minutes. Avoid the traffic. Don't get stuck in the delay. Get Ipswich buses today. A single from only £1.20, a return from only £2. Find out more information at www.ipswichbuses.co.uk. Ipswich Buses, proud to partner with Talking Town. Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Wednesday Talking Town Match Preview. That's right, Portman Road day this weekend. We have Plymouth at home. I guess it's a big game. We'll look at the league table in a second. Obviously, Plymouth played last night, and we'll discuss all manner of things Ipswich Town. First of all, lovely to see you all. Lovely to be with you. Love to see an active chat. Do get your thoughts, comments, opinions in about anything we talk about anything Ipswich Town related. The more stuff that we can get through where I don't have to talk tonight, the better. I'm on the milkshake. So if you've been a part of the community for a while, you'll know what that means. But yes, tonsillitis has returned 3 times this year. And we're only in March. I've had tonsillitis. So any time that my contributors or you guys and girls could talk would be splendid. We do have Rich on standby should the heat get a little bit too much for me. He is in the chat as well. We have got Colin in the chat, Mike D in the chat. Good evening. Hope you're well. Neil Perks, Lee Brown. Lovely, busy chat. Before we go any further, you can support the platform through Ko-Fi. You can support it through Ko-Fi or become a YouTube member. These great people have. And what a time to be an Ipswich Town fan. Let's be brutally honest. The content has never been so good for Town fans. If only the on-field antics matched the off-field content, because we would be surely playing Arsenal this weekend, or Manchester City, or sitting watching an international weekend doing absolutely nothing. Maybe in time that will get there, but until then, these are our fifth standers and our YouTube members. Jason Clayton says, get those bad boys removed. Jason, I had them removed when I was 13 because I had tonsillitis when I was a kid for 5 straight years. May have even been 14 when I had them removed. So yeah, I've had them removed already. And I didn't get it for like 13, 14, 15 years. And then suddenly I've got it smashing me every single month. Craig, they've moved the Wigan date. Had to juggle holiday days now. Yes, of course. They've moved the Rotherham and the Wigan dates. Rotherham is no longer on the Good Friday. It is now a Sky fixture on the Saturday. We'll also do a match day ticket that day. And Wigan has moved to the Tuesday as a result at 7:45 kickoff, if you did not know. Good evening, Nikki. Good evening, Ben. Good evening, Lee. Looking forward to hearing what you're going to say this evening. Right, let's go ahead and bring my first contributor in before we discuss this week's Prediction League. He is an author, a Town fan of many, many, many years. Adventures of a Tractor Boy is the book you may know. It is, of course, Mr. Graeme. Graeme, how are you?
Evening. How are you, Martin?
Yeah, I've been better, but we'll get there. Tell the guys and girls at home the story about the shirt you're wearing, because there's a little bit of a story with this one, isn't there?
Yes, well, I bought it sort of the tail end of last year, and it made its debut at home to Sunderland, which we drew. I think that was McGrill's last caretaker charge match with McKenna watching from the stands. And since then, every game that I've watched, I've worn this shirt. It's starting to maybe get a little bit smelly, but if you roll the old deodorant onto the armpits each week, because it's not going to get washed until we lose. I've been to, as you're aware, I've been to 2 or 3 hospitality matches where there's a strict, you're not allowed to wear replica shirts. So I had the posh shirt on over the top, but the replica shirt was still there because I wasn't going to risk us losing by me not wearing the shirt. So so we're on 8 wins and 5 draws and no defeats since I've worn the shirt, and I will continue to do so.
Yeah, it's those draws though that are just too many. I feel that have probably kicked us in the nuts more than we.
I do keep telling my daughter that this is a gold shirt, not a yellow shirt, because they have told me in my 58 years I've never worn anything yellow before. So I'm in denial that it's yellow. It's a golden shirt, I call it.
It's it's definitely yellow, Graham. Between me and you and the lamppost, it's definitely yellow.
I should remain in denial.
Go on the treatment table again. The Tom, I didn't know. I'm more the Sam Morsey, Mike. I might be injured, I might be ill, but here I am delivering a 10 out of 10 performance. Well, see. Well, you can rate the performance at home. Lewis, big win Saturday against Plymouth, and other results go our way again. One can only dream. Well, looking at the league table, Graham. But after last night's games, obviously Plymouth now on 74, won the last five. 5 of the last 5 they've won. Unbelievable form for a team that we expected to fall away, but they have not. What do you think of the chances now, Graham? Honestly, looking at that, as Lewis says there, one can only dream. Is it a dream or is it really more of a miracle at this point?
Well, as you're aware, I've been much more of a glass half full rather than half empty, probably since not long after McKenna came in, and I've really believed we can make the playoffs. I'm starting to have a little bit of doubt with the draws that we've we've dropped the 2 points, like against Oxford, very unluckily, Morecambe, Cheltenham, Portsmouth. I think they could be costly, but with how the results went at the weekend, even though we drew and we could have done with the extra 2 points against Oxford, there's still that outside chance that we could sort of gate crash the party. I mean, a lot of people will probably laugh because, you're looking at needing sort of probably 6 wins out of 7 and a draw maybe to do that. And we've struggled to, I think, have we got 3 wins on the trot? I can't remember.
No, we haven't. No, we haven't yet to do that.
No, but if you look at that table, I think I did have a quick look this afternoon, but I think Oxford and Sunderland are both not playing this weekend. So
I can have a look at that in just a momento. Yeah.
So as far as that goes, if we were to get really big win against Plymouth at the weekend, then that suddenly puts us back within sort of 3. Was it the table's gone? But I think within about
3 points. 3
points off of the top 6 again. Because what is Sunderland? Yeah, they're 67. So it would put us on 64. So we'd be three behind Sunderland. And
the issue, I guess, pertains there, Graham, is the fact that you're in a league at this point with Sunderland, Wednesday and Wycombe, and if you look at it in that format, we're bottom of that league, and it's not just Sunderland you've got to hope slip up now, it's also Wednesday and Wycombe. You're not just sort of, if we were in Wednesday's position, for example, even on 39 points, you'd feel a lot better, because if you do your job, you just need one team to slip. Whereas right now, you're saying about Saturday, great point, I agree, but you'd still be behind Wycombe and Wednesday. And you could be no different if they both get wins. It's the fact we're bottom of that mini league table, isn't it?
Looking at it, I think from the fixtures Wednesday, don't they play Cheltenham? Yeah, they're at home to Cheltenham. Yeah. So with all respect to Cheltenham, you can't see them doing the job they did on us at Portman Road, because that's Sheffield Wednesday's real strength is home form this season, right? They've slipped a few times away. So you'd expect them to beat Cheltenham at the weekend, which really makes it an absolute necessity that we can't afford a draw. We have got to get all 3 points on Saturday. I know the last match of the season, Wednesday, are playing Portsmouth, who've still got, is it 1 game in hand or 2?
They certainly do. One game,
so,
I believe.
So, at the end of the day, there's only going to be one of those teams that's taking 3 points, or they're both dropping 2 points on that last game of the season when we're at home to Charlton. So, we've just got to start conversing,
winning, not drawing,
getting the results, because we're looking very hard to beat at the moment, but we're still not really converting those chances and opportunities into goals and into wins. So it's that worst time of season. We still cling to that desperate hope that we could still gate crash the playoffs, and we haven't had the door shut on us quite yet, so we still hope against hope that we can sort of get in there. I mean, the other way of looking at, once that door is shut, then possibly it's going to open the doors for a few. I mean, we'll probably come on to the Kieran Dyer a bit later in the programme, but there seems to. I mean, I haven't watched the hour and a half of it. I've got other things to do in life rather than sit and listen to that for an hour and a half, I'm afraid. But at the end of the day, from what I could glean from it, the the biggest sort of complaint, if you like, was the pathway through from under 23 to first team.
Yeah, and we'll come to that when Kally's here, just because I want
Yeah.
to bring Kally in that. But I say that, Graeme, but he didn't turn up to last night's show, and he's not here now. So
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, all I was going to say was, whilst I totally sort of sympathise with Kieran and wanting to see his players who've had a wonderful run in the under 23 league. Was it 8 wins on the bounce or something?
Yeah, but it's a 23 league. It's
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, though, no first team manager is going to put youngsters in when we've still got a sniff of the playoffs and promotion potentially. The time for possibly one or two of them getting blooded in the first team will be when that door has finally shut, maybe the last 3 or 4 games of the season. Hopefully that door isn't shut and they won't get the opportunity. I'd far rather that, but being brutally realistic, that's possibly what's going to happen. Then you'd think, well, maybe now is the time. There's no pressure on them. We're going to finish 8th, 9th, 10th or thereabouts. Let's see what they can do. And to be honest, there will be the pressure, not on getting promotion, but there will be the pressure on any youngster that comes in because the pressure's off, if that makes sense. They've got to come in and almost perform straight away, because if they don't, they probably aren't going to get a look in again next season. But that's just my take on it, right or wrong.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll probably develop that and we'll invite some comment from the chat. I've got Mike D, who'd like to see us in a yellow strip next season with blue Adidas stripes. It'd be a beauty. Lewis enjoyed the Tristan Nydam interview on Tuesday, which was last night. He and his mum live near me, so there's a soft spot for him. Genuine top guy who's managed heartbreaking news in a dignified manner. Absolutely. It was very well put together interview. We've got Emerson Feather, fair play to Plymouth, 9 wins out of 10, conceding only 1 goal. Extraordinary form, in all honesty, Emerson, on a team that we expected to fall away a little bit. They just have not done that. Cruncher,
they did to a while, didn't they? They sort of seemed to drop out, and then they've soon got their act together again, didn't they? And they've gone on this phenomenal run again.
Let's be honest, they're doing the form we needed to do.
Yeah.
That sort of superhuman form where you're, as Emerson says there, 9 out of 10 wins. I mean, that's gigantic. Right, D. Schumacher was another up-and-coming young coach. Very good. Crunchy does say, if anyone thinks we can make the top 6, only 7 games to go, they need their head examining. It's all opinions. I do think if you win this Saturday and the results go your way, you're right back in the mix, as mad as that sounds. Antstill, I'm a fan of the 3 stripes too. Antstill did make a great point earlier in the show just about the fixtures being rearranged. He says Sky can get in the bin. Putting profit ahead of travelling fans as usual. So many Easter weekends ruined for the sake of viewing figures and pounds.
I've got a good story there, Martin. Being recently retired and being a tight git, I've finally got fed up with Sky because I've sort of kept it for years because they've given me a reasonable subscription, but I tend to watch it more because I've got it rather than I want to watch it. So I said, sod it, I'm going to cancel it and get a free view box. So my subscription finishes on the 8th of April. They're obviously so peed off at losing me as a customer, they decided to put the one game that I'm not going to, Homer away the rest of the season, Rotherham, they decided to put that on just after I'd finished my subscription, so I won't be able to watch it. So,
did you not fancy a bit of New York hospitality?
No, not on a Good Friday. Just didn't appeal. So no. Shrewsbury and Crewe are more appealing.
Look at that. Never thought I'd hear the words that are coming out of your mouth there. Nick Simon and Nicky, promotion and stability in the Championship is our main aim. It has to be next season. Lee needs to look at how many points we've clawed back from when McKenna took over 11 behind. So in 20 games, we've clawed 5 points back. That's not going to get us up, even though we've improved. Too many draws. Mike D. Wembley FA Cup semi-finals can get right in the bin. Yeah, you're a more traditional fan. I'd have you pegged out. How do you feel about the semi-finals being at Wembley these days, as opposed to the traditionalist Villa Park, Old Trafford, and
just takes away the glory of the cup final, doesn't it? Really, if you're already playing there in the semis, to me, it should be back to the good old days when you looked at the 2 semi-finalists. And then you decided, so say, for instance, it was Man City and Ipswich. We'll go for Man City. Well,
absolutely.
We did have that, didn't we? And the ground I was going to use as an example was a reality, wasn't it, in 80-81? Villa Park, approximately halfway between the two clubs, and, that always worked. But, I don't know.
I used to love, as a kid, I loved the tradition of Villa Park, the Old Trafford.
I'm still missing Swap Shop on the Saturday morning, a cup final day as well. So
I just think it was a neutral venue that was a fairly decent stadium, and it gave it that little bit of special, and it made the final special because you were getting to Wembley, whereas now you just need to get to the semis to get to Wembley. And
you can't forget Highbury against West Brom in '78.
There you go. And I'm going to ask you for some memories as we go, obviously, because it's Portman Road down Saturday. I will just invite the chat to have their say. Obviously, Kieran Dyer thoughts, as Graham's mentioned there, the league position, everything else. Link will be incoming into the chat in just a moment. And still, semis should be played at neutral venues again. Wembley should be reserved for the final only. Away days, it's not over till it's over. Whatever happens, though, we're in a far better position now that we've been for years. It's not over till it's over. Sounds like a great beer, by the way. Just get it made away days. It would sell itself. Stephen, the FA still owe £400 million at Wembley. They need to pay that off. Yeah, that's absolutely right. He's here, our third member. He is a royalty on the platform. He's finally turned up. It is our King Kally. King, how you doing?
Sorry, lads. Sorry about that.
Nice to see you, man. I mean, did show last night. You were,
I know. I know. So sorry, mate. It's been a bit hectic.
That's all right.
I didn't realise how much I relied on my missus to just plan my day sometimes.
Dangerous territory. Well, if you get one thing and that's it, it all goes wrong. Don't worry, I know too well. I've missed a couple of dates in the diary myself this week, not on the show, but in things like doctors and other bits and pieces. A bit more serious. FA Cup. So, neutral venues. Where are you on that? Are you okay with it being at Wembley?
I hate it being at Wembley.
Why? What's your thinking behind it?
Well, one, I hate travelling to London for football games anyway. They're just anti-cars.
True. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
If it's a case of the final, it takes away the speciality of the final, right? And I know what they try to do when they introduced it and what they said in the sound bites around when they said we're going to do it at Wembley. It was like, well, for the smaller teams that maybe won't make the final but have made a cup upset and made semi-finals, as we've seen over the years, they've got a day out at Wembley. But nah, not for me. It's always been, for me, FA Cup's always been Villa Park or Old Trafford, right? When I think of FA Cup, I always think of Sheffield United versus Arsenal at Old Trafford, that David Seaman save where he just clawed it off the line or something. I remember that. It was nice neutral venues, and then you got the Villa Park, of course, United '99, where Vieira gave the ball to Giggs.
Highbury in '78, Kally.
You see, I was
a little bit before Kally's time.
Yeah, I wasn't even my dad's nutsack then, so yeah.
You love that saying. You dust that saying off every time, man. Every time.
The truth.
Fair. All right. Well, you may say so. And obviously, you were late to the party, but playoff push. Graeme is still believing. You said we'd finish fourth. I think you got that massively wrong. Do you think we're still right to believe in it? Do you think this Saturday could be the start of a magical run?
To be fair, I did say 4th or 5th.
Well, right. Either's not going to happen.
No, well, I think but I think 5th is what we're chasing. I know we talked about 5 points or 6 points. The reality is we're 8 points. That's what we need to close.
Yeah, 3 games really, isn't it?
It's going to sound biased, obviously, because we're Town fans. But if any of those teams, you kind of got the 3 teams down to us that are chasing, and possibly Portsmouth that are chasing that last kind of Sunderland spot, or potentially if Plymouth drop down, but I can't see them dropping further. I don't know. We're the only team I can see putting a run together. But the problem is, we don't win more than 2 games on a bounce at the moment. So a win-win, a draw, win-win, draw, win wouldn't be enough.
Win chicken dinner. Not how
we need to win 6. We need to win 6.
The thing is, as we were saying before, you're right and what Graeme was saying. Win Saturday, and the result, obviously Sunderland aren't playing, and the other results go your way a little bit. It suddenly does look a little, I do mean a little bit, better.
Yeah.
And it does put you right back in the mix.
I think the annoying thing is if you look at Plymouth's fixtures, that I think they had about 10, the last 10 or 11 games, right through to the end of the season, they had about 7 or 8 of them were right up all the other playoff and promotion contenders and everything, and they've just gone on this run. So that with the win against Cheltenham on Tuesday night, that's obviously made it probably not really matter, because I think Plymouth have almost certainly cemented they could get a little bit squeaky if they lose to us Saturday, but I don't think it's likely. They're the sort of team that even if we beat them Saturday, they'll just go straight on the next game. And I think we've got MK Dons coming up down at Home Park. They'd probably just go and win that one, So, if you look back maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, you think, oh, look at that fixture list for Plymouth. They're going to come unstuck, and they haven't.
Yeah, we all did. That's exactly what we all did, Graeme. Sid's obviously had a couple of drinks because he believes there was a time when he didn't talk bollocks.
Sid Driver, the talking town with the tractor bricky.
I don't know where he's been. He suddenly he was here, then he weren't. Now he's back. We missed you, Sid. I'm glad you could return.
He's been working with our defence to build a wall. And
to be fair, Martin, you don't need to have a pint to talk bollocks, do you? Look at us lot.
Well, that's true. But I was more
I don't drink like that. And then how many times am I been on here chatting shit?
Well, I was more surprised that Sid felt there was a time when he didn't talk bollocks. That's why I was more surprised at. Sid, you've always talked bollocks. We love you, really. Yes, wow, mate. I didn't want to do it this way. But on this day, many, many years ago, Sid Driver, I was only just out of my dad's nutsack when Rusa put that last goal in. Well, on this day, many years ago, we beat the transfer deadline, Graeme, to sign which player?
When was that?
Martin Roycer, shall I say. So I didn't want to quite do it on this day via Sid Driver's dad's nutsack, but here we are. It's 2022, ladies and gentlemen. Right, before I bring in a couple of guests, and we have got absolutely loads that have just lit up the VIP area. We do have our prediction league, 3 fixtures this week because Norwich versus Brighton was on last week, so obviously they're not playing. Town Plymouth, Colchester Tranmere, Wimbledon Cambridge. Links now in the chat. Please do ask for it on social media if you're watching this on catch up and don't see it. Alternatively, please do search our social media where I will try and make sure it is posted this week. It is week number 30, season coming to a climax. Still all to play for. Right, let's bring in the cruncher first of all. You can see me in the chat. Here he is. How you doing?
Good evening, Kally. Good evening, Graeme. How are we?
Hi, Rich.
We're all good, Rich.
Last time you saw Sid Driver, was it the Crystal Palace friendly, Martin, when he helped you do a show?
That was Millwall, wasn't it?
Was it Millwall? Oh, it was Millwall, wasn't it? Yeah, Millwall. That was the one.
Since then, I've never seen him. He's disappeared.
I've got a question for Graeme, right? Unbelievably, Graeme, the GOAT has not got a copy of your book.
Hasn't he?
I still need you to sign the book.
Can you get him a copy of your book?
I can do, but I'd need to order it on. Is he able to order it on Amazon?
In other words, fucking pay for it.
Well done, Kally. I've still got to sign your copy, haven't I, Kally?
In fact, I'm going to bring it down Saturday. In fact, yeah,
$7.99 on Amazon. Stephen Barry says, "There you go."
$7.99. Tell you what, as he's here, go. Why have you not?
And you know what? It goes to a good cause as well. I know. When the
Come on, Colin. Where's the book, Colin?
I don't need the book. It's all in my head.
One slip and it's gone, mate.
Sorry?
You want to get the book. Relive the moments.
I don't need it. It's all in my head.
No, it's a good book.
All right.
Especially for fans like us who didn't see it. It's a very
Is it still available at the shop?
Not at the shop, no. On Amazon. You can get it on Amazon.
Right, okay. I don't normally mess about with them kind of things, but...
No. Colin, I'll let you go first.
Sorry?
What do you want to say tonight? I'll let you go first. What do you want to say tonight?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say, obviously, we said it before the Plymouth game. Obviously, the main attraction, I'm still testing a little bit positive, but I think I'll be okay for Saturday, all being well. So I'll be devastated if I can't go Saturday. Plymouth did a lovely a lovely thing down there for Paul. I'm just hoping upon hope that, you know, what we do is going to be even better. Because he obviously, as Graeme would tell you, he obviously had a fantastic and even better career at Ipswich than he did at Plymouth. Although, you know, he started his career at Chorley, actually. But the games I always remember, I'm not ignoring Rich and Kally and yourself, because obviously that's rude to do that. But the only reason I'm speaking to Graeme personally tonight is because Graeme remembers exactly what I'm going to say. The games that really stick out for me, I'll be thinking of on Saturday, will be Millwall away, FA Cup 6th round. He seemed to be the only person in the ground who wouldn't even bother what was going on. You know, whenever, you know, Millwall fans are coming on 2-3 times. So there's that game. West Brom, obviously, at home, his debut, Graeme, when he scored that goal. Trevor got 4 that day in a 7-0.
He nearly took John Osborne's head off, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah. And Trevor got 4. So it's that game. Also, a game that I went to, and I'm sure you did, Graeme, St Etienne away, which I still maintain. I don't know whether you're going to agree with me, Graeme. I still maintain, for me, that was the best performance I ever saw by 12, 13 players.
I've never seen a better Ipswich performance.
Unbelievable.
Anyway.
Yeah, and you know, another game I remember is, do you remember the header against Liverpool when we won 1-0? Unbelievable. Trevor had a similar one about a year or two before. But I'll tell you what, that was up Churchman's. Do you remember?
Yeah.
That header was up Churchman's, and oh my God, Ray Clements hadn't got an earthly. Paul Mariner was the best striker. Look, we've got to be careful because Ray Crawford was up there. Best goal scorer ever in our history. Was he as good with back to goal? Was he as strong as Paul? No. Ray was a fantastic player. We never ever take that away from him. But Paul Mariner, for me, arguably, look, I'm going to put them on a par, them two. But Paul maybe just that's slightly that much better because he got 35 England caps, where Ray only got a couple. So as regards an international footballer, Paul was right up there. And I remember when we went to the World Cup in Spain, and we scored really, really early, out about 35 seconds. England did, and then Paul. I think we beat France 3-1, and Paul Mariner got the third goal, and that was a typical Paul finish.
The way that I can measure the quality that Paul Mariner had was out in Stavanger in Norway, and we'd got one of those Woolworths plastic footballs in the street outside the ground. Yeah. And Paul Mariner actually skinned it, stuck it straight through between my legs, and run round behind me. You know, and that's playing football with like the England centre forward, and you know, quality centre half like myself. The way he like stuck the ball between my legs and went round, so it went like that to me. At the other side was quite amazing. But then, sort of moving on from that, we were the only 3 supporters over that had followed Ipswich all over, sort of Sweden and Norway, and Stavanger was the final match of the tour. And Paul invited us to follow the coach back after the game to the Players' Hotel and go for a meal with the players as a thank you for sort of supporting them. So we went downstairs into where the restaurant was with the players, and we were all sort of sat in a line. I was sort of sat next to Paul Mariner, and then we had the meal, and then all the hotel staff came in with their books and napkins and all sorts of pens and everything. And then I was sort of sitting there really embarrassed as they came along, and Paul goes, just sign it. He said, just do a signature, he said. And then if you can imagine, in years to come, they're going to be trying to work out who the hell was that person that signed that bit of paper and everything. So we sort of signed that. And then the other bit that I remember about Paul, I don't know if you remember a guy, he was probably a bit like someone off a building site that played in midfield for us, a Dutch guy called Cor Lems. and he was built like a brick shit house. But Paul Mariner wasn't terribly complimentary about him, and his description was that he couldn't trap a bag of cement, was his description of him. So they're my real memories of Paul.
Another thing I'd like to say to you, Graeme, I'd like to know your opinion. I've got a real big thing at the moment. You're wearing a shirt. I can remember seeing him play hundreds of times. I've got a thing about Colin Viljoen at the moment. I cannot believe, Graeme, that Colin Viljoen is not in the Hall of Fame, and people like Kevin O'Callaghan are. That is absolutely unbelievable. And the next time I see Mark Afton or Mr. O'Leary, I'm going to have a word about it, because it beggars belief. I mean, Colin Viljoen.
I guess it's all down to sort of personal opinion on who shouldn't. I think I was reading earlier on today or yesterday.
But Graeme, it's the legend of our club.
Yeah, but someone was also saying that another person that you could argue should be in there was David Geddes, because they're saying that he's the only member of the cup fight, the 78 cup winning team that isn't actually there. So that's another one you could potentially argue.
But Graeme,
how do you think? Sorry, Colin. Because obviously that is a good talking point, and how do you think that's now decided, Rich? Because obviously there's been so many changes at our football club. How do you think things like that do ultimately get?
They have a committee. Do they have a committee that they change? Do they pick the players, Graeme, do you think? Because obviously they'll pick different players from different eras. Just going back to it, Colin, sing me the Paul Mariner song.
Mariner, oh Mariner, we walk a million miles for one of your goals, oh Mariner, oh Mariner, oh Mariner, we walk a million miles for one of your goals, oh Mariner. Now, everybody who's watching this tonight, sing that in memory of the great man on Saturday.
Good
song.
Sing
that's a time for the North Stand.
Talking of Saturday, Rich.
They can't even sing Blue Army in tune in the North Stand, so they might struggle.
Well, talking of Saturday, Rich, is it possible, as Graeme was sort of alluding to earlier in the show, what do you think of Saturday?
It's going to be a very tough game. You just look at their record, like Lewis said, 9 out of 10. They've won. And I think I said on here, I said to you, Colin, I thought when Ryan Lowe left and he went to Preston, I thought they'd really struggle. But, Schumacher has done a really, really good job down there. And I think they're on 74 points now. And I think that they'll comfortably, I know they got a really hard end to the season, but the position that they're in, they'll comfortably get in the playoffs. Do I think we can beat them?
Schumacher's got them racing up the league, couldn't you?
Well, very good.
Jesus,
but I think we can beat them. I think we can beat them, because we played. Look at all the teams. Kally was there on Saturday. Oxford. We played Oxford. We played Portsmouth, MK Dons. We're as good as a football team than any team in this league, as Colin will say. But the reality is, we're 9th. We're probably going to end 9th, Martin, if we're being honest, because the games are just going to run out unless we can win 6 or 7. I've just been watching Quest from Saturday, and George Alec was on there, and he said if there is any team in this league who can win 6 or 7 games on the bounce, it is Town. So, but we just got to concentrate on Saturday's game, win that game, and then look at the next one. But I still think it's going to take a massive effort, and it's going to take 3 teams above us to have an absolute meltdown. Is that going to happen? I very much doubt it, but.
The thing is, we've got to get that second goal when we're on top. We were murdering Oxford on Saturday, and the other thing we've also got to do is just. I was absolutely gutted because I thought Burgess was probably our best defender, and there's one slight loss of concentration right at the very end, and that's what cost us. And we've got to sort of both, eradicate those lapses at one end, and we've got to convert, because. We were so much better than that. I thought it was relatively even first half. we absolutely murdered them second half. But I mean, it was quite funny because we were actually in better seats than Mark Ashton on Saturday, because we did the hospitality there, and we were in the front row above the director's box, so we were looking down on him, and there was the most annoying Oxford fan there that was like giving it the whole day. He was giving it, and my mate, when we went 1-0 up, he just forgot himself and absolutely went ballistic. And of course, you do pay for it when they get a bloody equaliser with 5 seconds to go. You've never seen someone in our faces so bloody much. You just wanted to give him a little nudge so he went over the wall, but we were good boys. We didn't. But
no, GBH at a full match is probably not worth it.
No, I mean it was the same. The Reading game quite a few years ago. Do you remember? I think it was Darren Bent scored in the 93rd minute.
Inga Marson, Graeme scored, didn't he? Straight in the kick.
We were in the family stand with my best mate and his daughter, and I just went, no colours, but I just went ballistic when we scored. And then, of course, when they went straight out the other end in the 94th minute and equalised, and I've never had so many of them in my face. And you thought, well, yeah, I suppose I did ask for it, really. But
before I rotate and bring in Stephen and Louis, I'll ask both of you two down the bottom. Any thoughts coming out of the Dyer interview? I know it's a big talking point among the Town fans at the moment. Crunch, anything?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really, really good interview, and he comes across. I was talking to the fisherman today. Now, people might disagree with me. I don't think he'll be a manager. I think Kieran will be a really, really good coach, Martin, because he seems to me as a real emotional individual, you know. And when you're a manager, I think you have to sort of get rid of that. And he might do. I'm not saying that he won't be a manager, but I think he'll be a top coach. I really do. Is Cameron Humphreys, though, the second best midfielder at Town? That's his opinion. You know, I think he's a very good footballer, Humphreys. But at the minute, it's been doing around today on social media about the academy, Martin. You know, where we are as a football club at the minute is a million miles away from where we've been. We've got an academy. For me, it's at the bottom of the list of priorities at the minute because we've got the spending power, you know, to get ourselves out of this division into the championship. Then we'll have the spending power there. So Kieran McKenna, look, he might have different ideas. If we lose a couple of games, we might see 2 or 3 youngsters come in and play 2 or 3 games towards the end of the season. But Kieran McKenna next season, his sole focus will be getting Town out of this league. Like when we come down here, everyone said we're on a League One tour. We're on a League One tour now, and it's the 4th season. So we need to get out of this league. Now, if there's a player in the academy, he might be a really good footballer, right? But if you can go and sign a ready-made player to come in for, say, you need a left wing back, you know, for instance, there's a good one in the academy. You're going to go and sign a player who you know what you're getting. You know, I don't think we've got, at the minute, we've got the time to. We might do. I don't know, but to bring 2 or 3 academy. Look, we've got some good academy players, but I see Graeme. I think it was your tweet earlier. It was Luke Wolfenden's the only one who's played 50+ games out of the academy in the last how many years?
Well, that's it. I was trying to sort of rack my brains, but if you equate, I don't know how much it costs, but let's just, for argument's sake, say a couple of million. It must be minimum when you look at the wages of all the coaches and the young players and everything associated with the academy. So, say for argument's sake, 2 million a year, and maybe in the last 4 or 5 years, your top player that's played more than 50 games is Wolfenden. 5 times 2 is 10 million quid. Does that make Wolfenden a £10 million player? Because, you know, at the end of the day, next season, our minimum requirement, I think, with the backing that we've got from America, is a top 2 place. So you've got to be brutally, as you rightly said, Rich, you've got to be brutally realistic and say, are there any of those players in the academy going to be top 2 league players next year? And if they're not, then we need to get those players in that are going to make us top 2. Because in my opinion, if we miss the playoffs this year, the minimum requirement is a top 2 place next year with the backing that we've got and with the management setup that we've now got. unfortunately, this year we've been playing catch up because I mean, Paul Cook was wanting to gel like up to Accrington at the start of October, and just gelling all along. I mean, and we're having to play catch up now. But we need a set of players, and we need to kick off from that first game. I think we kick off in July, don't we, with the World Cup and everything? So we need to kick off first match, and we need to be in the top four literally from the end of that first month, and we don't want to go out of it and then we want to move into that top two.
I couldn't agree with Graeme more though, because McKenna has done a really good job, Graeme, but he's I'm not saying he's had a free hit, but he's had a really good time to look at the players that he's got. Totally different pressure next season. We can't be playing catch up. Good pre-season, signed 2 or 3 quality players, and we've got to be in and around the mix all season long. Not playing catch up. Next season, hit the ground running and off we go. But I thought, fair play to Statman. Fair play to Statman, Martin. I thought, I don't really get on with him. He doesn't have a high opinion of me, but I thought it was a really, really good interview. Well done. And I thought Kieran come across really well.
Yeah, with the club at heart. But in terms of the academy,
open, isn't it?
Well, yeah, this is it. I was going to ask yourself, Kally, about the academy sort of comments there, because a coach always loves their own players. That's a given. But I always think about Armando Dobra, and as fans, we think anybody that comes through the academy is the next Messi and should be playing week in, week out. Dobra at the start of the campaign was seen to be the answer to our left wing. Should be in the team every single week. He's barely done anything at Colchester United, where coaches that haven't got that allegiance with him.
Do you think he went to the right place? Because without being funny,
irrelevant, really, isn't it? You've got to rip it up, regardless.
It's gone to Colchester with I've got a lot of mates that are Colchester fans, and they're like really surprised that they're where they are in Division 2, because you've got all these players that have come from us that maybe didn't quite make it and whatever, but. To be fair, they had a losing mentality at Ipswich. They accepted like last-minute goals going in and whatever. And then Dobra's gone along and joined 6, 7, 8, 9.
He went to the wrong place.
Players. It's almost too easy for him. If he went somewhere like Rochdale or Chelsea, Rochdale, Morecambe, somewhere really opens his eyes up that he hasn't got all his old mates there. It's just literally sort of he goes south down the A12 rather than north up the A12 or whatever. It's not difficult for him.
Look at now the loans that we do, right? So coming to our academy isn't that great. Let's be real. Take the blue tinted glasses off, right?
Agreed.
Our academy is not that great. I'm a fan of a lot of our academy players and products. I was quite, I was quite upset and a bit of a heavy heart to see that, someone like Tristan's, because I really thought he had a lot of talent, right? Obviously, Nydam's had to retire and all the rest of it. But you think about Lancaster, he come through. I'm a fan of his. But I think he made the wrong move. He stayed a bit too local. If he'd have done something like, look at Indaba. Look at Corey Indaba. Look at Tyree Simpson. In fact, just look at Indaba this season and last season. Last season, he went up to Ayr United and fucking shitholed somewhere in Scotland. Right? Played up
there, Kally, when you were on about Tristan Nydam, so last night, he went on loan to St Johnstone, He said he was away from home. He didn't even know how to turn on the washing machine, right? So you've got Dobra, who's probably still living at home. Way too easy. It's
like, okay, we're not footballers, but it's one of those, like, I remember growing up and it was one of those where go to uni. Okay, well, you got to go to uni outside of town. I don't want to stay uptown because it's part about growing up. It is part about learning how to make your own dinner, do a washing machine and all the rest of it, right? Part of becoming an adult, right? Indaba now, if we go back to him, he is pulling up trees at Salford. He's been playing, he's doing a couple of man of the match performances. He's been in team of the week down there. Tyree Simpson, we all know how well it documented his move at Swindon. So these players have gone out their comfort zone and played some really good football. You stay in your comfort zone, there is no motivation to do any better. What is the motivation for? And listen, I don't know Dobra. I'm a fan of Dobra. I do think that he has a future at Town under McKenna, right? Because just to digress slightly on that point, I think if he has the right coaching around him, he could be the perfect person to replace Aluka when Aluka retires. similar player, quick with the ball, ball sticks to his feet, good in tight paces. If he can be consistent, because that's always been Dobbs' problem. He hasn't had a consistent. He's had one game where we come on off the bench and it will look absolutely amazing. I still think about the Gillingham goal last year in the Carabao Cup or Papa John's Cup or whatever, right? But then the next couple of games he'll come off and he'll do nothing, right? Remember at the beginning of the season when we played Lincoln, we got our win. I think Dobbs played as well. He had impact, but not a lot of impact. Now, right coaches around him, I think someone like McKenna can get the best out of him. But if he's going to go out on loan again, and I think that's the big if is based on what league we're in next season, I think he could play at League One a bit more.
You said we're coming fourth.
I said it depends. Yeah, I haven't said we haven't. I haven't said we're not. I'm saying it depends where I can't see the future. It ain't happened yet, right? Strange things have happened. Norwich get promoted to the Premier League each year. How the fuck knows? I don't know, right? So strange things happen. But if we go up, which I'm hoping we do, I don't think Dobbs will be around this first team squad. He'll have to go out on loan, and that's a big thing for him. Is he's got to go out, like Graeme says, he's got to go out of the zone, get out of Suffolk, man, get away from the A14, A12, or whatever. Just find an M road, get away from the A roads, man. Find a motorway, come up the M6 or something like that, right? And actually find a club, fend for yourself, do all that, right? And it will make you a player. At the moment, why would you think about yourself? If you're comfortable in a job doing the bare minimum, why would you want to step up? You think he knows that he's got it cushy, if you like, with the setup there, because it's all his old, teammates from last year. It's people like Chambers and Scouse and everything, and Judgy that all know Dobbs and can put in a good word for him. So it doesn't matter. But then it's been a failed loan move. Let's be real. Yeah, it has been a failed loan move.
Primarily because what Carl Brooks says, the whole reason the loan, regardless of who they go to, is to get minutes and develop or recover from injury. But the player has to go rip it up. If he can't do it at Cole U, he won't do it here. Up for the opinion, that one. Yeah, but Colin, Rich, appreciate you both.
Could I say one thing first, lastly?
Very quickly.
No, it's really important. Okay. One thing to
Kieran. I've got Stephen waiting.
No, very important. One thing to Kieran Dyer. The most important thing, young man, get your health right. Get your health right. It's a massive operation he's facing, and he's been waiting since January, as we all know. And when he gets the call, get your health right, son, and everything else after that will come to you. And whatever that is, whether it's a coach at wherever or a manager or wherever, that's never as big as your health. And my God, I just pray that you get that right and you get yourself, back on your feet, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can echo those sentiments. I'm sure we all do on here this evening. Colin, Rich, appreciate you both stepping in. Look after yourselves. Stephen, sorry you've been waiting for a while. How are you doing?
I'm all right. It's Colin. I don't mind waiting.
Good man. I appreciate it. What do you make of the World of Ipswich Town this week?
Well, like I said, I didn't come on the other shows. My wife's son's girlfriend decided to move in, so I had to start moving folk up from Nottingham, so it was a pain in the ass all weekend. But at the end of the day, it was one of those games that we should have won. I think Kieran McKenna said it perfectly. At the end of the day, you need to score when you're on top, and we didn't. We scored one. And football's football. We all know football. These things happen. Was it a mistake? Possibly. I don't know. I think more than likely it was probably just like a match practice. George Edmondson were doing them a few months ago. He's not up to the speed of playing a game to 95 minutes. So he switches off.
I don't think he switched off. Sorry, Beeb. I got to interrupt you there. Sorry, bro. But I don't think you're on about the Oxford goal, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just saying he got away from him. And I think if it was like a bit,
do you know what it is? Sometimes
I don't think he would have done.
Nah, do you know what it is? I think sometimes, you've got to give credit to a good goal, right? The ball was excellent. The movement was brilliant. I don't think Burgess actually switched off like that. I just think the striker did his job and managed to get half a yard. Yeah, I think to say he switched off, To say he switched off, I think it's a bit harsh.
No,
That's all
I'm
I'm
not saying he did. I'm just saying it's a possible explanation. What I'm saying is like, yeah, you've got to credit the corner. You've got to, there's a lot of things that can go wrong with that corner. They could.
Listen, I was in awe, and I just couldn't believe it. I saw a corner that beat a first man, then I realised.
Well, that's what I mean. There's a lot of things
team.
that can go wrong with that corner. The wind can catch the ball. It can hit the first man. The guy can head it over the bar. All I'm saying is he got away from his defender a bit easy. Yeah, I'm not saying it was a mistake by him. I'm just saying if it was 20 minutes earlier, he was. That was the only one and only corner that they caused us a problem with. Yeah. Every other we dealt with, and it was in the 95th minute. I'm not saying he did. I'm not saying he did. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm saying it's a possibility that he switched off because it was like 95 minutes. And the only reason it got to 95 minutes because he started play acting, because even Stuart Watson said, we were dominating the game and they told their players, go down, give us more time. We might get back in this game if we have extra time, if we have added time. And lo and behold, they did. So that was a good tactical ploy. It disrupts our game when we're on top, and they get extra time at the end when they might be on top. And as it proved, it did. So it was a good plan. But the point is, there is a lot of things that can go wrong, and it was a good goal. I'm not denying that. I'm not taking anything away from Oxford. I'm just saying there were possible reasons for it. We will never know. What will be, will be. It's football. That's the way it goes. Like I said, I've seen Liverpool sides have 30 shots against Burnley and lose. When Burnley had one shot. These things happen. But, moving on to Plymouth, I think at the end of the day, we're more than capable of beating Plymouth. Plymouth are good. Plymouth are very good. They wouldn't be where they were if they weren't, But on the day, anyone is capable, as we've seen in this league, of beating anyone. Nobody, even though they had 10 men, nobody expected to beat Shrewsbury, to beat Rotherham, for God's sake. At Rotherham, So on the day, anything can happen. To turn around and say, well, I've given up trying to predict results. That's why I've stopped doing the prediction league, because I'm not good at it, and B, I'm never ranked. Predicting results is a mug's game, because you're never going. You don't know. Anything can happen. It could be the boringest game, and then all of a sudden someone hits a P roll from 5 yards and it goes through a goalie's legs. Who knows what's going to happen? Are we capable of winning? Yes. Are they capable of winning? Yes. I think on the day we'll probably just nick it. I think the day, the event, and the emotion might just get to them. That's what I hope. Whether it pans out like that, I don't know. Will we go up? We've still got a chance. While we've got a chance, I'll go with we've got a chance. I'm not one of these big people that go on this, well, we've not won 3 in a row. Nobody says that at the start of the season. We'll say it now because we have to win 3 in a row.
It's because you ain't played 3 games at the start of the season, Stephen.
Oh, no, but what I'm saying is, at the start of the season, nobody said, because you can start the season, not win 3 in a row and still get top 2.
Yeah, but that's the pressure's building now, isn't it?
That's what I mean. The reason we have to now win 3 in a row is because of the pig's ear we made at the first half of the season. If we didn't do that, we wouldn't have to win 3 in a row. That's the point I'm trying to make.
A big word. Sorry, Stephen. Sorry, I thought you'd finished. Sorry, I just because a big word was mentioned then, pressure. Do you think this is a group that can handle the pressure? I've seen teams over the years that have played in the blue and white that I wouldn't trust in the kitchen, let alone actually in the heat of battle. So,
what was it? The trenches that Cruncher said.
Well, yeah. Kally, do you think? I'll ask the same question to you, Stephen. Do you think this is a group with a mentality and a backbone that can really handle pressure that will come their way if they do manage to pick up a decent couple of results?
Who are you asking first?
You, Kally. Sorry.
Oh, me? Yeah, 100%. Yeah. These are the lads I'd have, to quote Cruncher, in the trenches with me. We've seen out. The thing is, football's about short memories, right? And we've seen the Oxford equaliser. Remember, Oxford, out of all 4 divisions, in fact, I think it may be all of Europe, definitely all of England, Oxford are the top scorers in the last 10 minutes of football games, right? So that's what they've been built into their team, right? And remember, this group of players has been built over time. It's something that they're building. We've got a 16, 17 game Kieran McKenna, right? Or you can call it a season with these players, right? So even then, it's one season. You're telling me you wouldn't have someone like the pressure comes to him, people like Sam Morsey, your people like even Wolfie, who was cool as a cucumber, and he still looks cool as a cucumber all the time. Like it just doesn't. If he wasn't a professional footballer, I'd think he was a stoner, right? That's how laid back he is, right? and he's just so chilled with it. I remember he just takes on players like it's nothing, and then just cool, done that, no problem. But he's there battling. JD battler, come on, he goes to battle for you, right? Even like your Burns is right. Where's Burns? Running down the wing, cutting up people, breaking ankles by switching chop here, there, and everywhere. And then on the defending side, he's sliding across, winning a crunching tackle as well. He's battling. He's a battler. And you can see Burns for the last probably a month, maybe 6 weeks, has clearly got a strain or something that is a bit niggly, right? He's still producing the goods. This is a 70% fit Wes Burns, and we're laughing, right?
But you just look at the game on Saturday at Oxford. Every time Burns got the ball, they just went straight through him, didn't they? And kicked him.
I like the fact, I mean, I know I said it on the show as well, that maybe he didn't need to make the foul, but I like that we had that little kind of that naughty foul. Clip him. All right, the guy's getting away, just clip him. Yeah, you know, so
you get a yellow and stop the hassle.
And if we'd have done that in the 94th minute, we don't get a corner, they get a free kick on the halfway line, and who knows what happens, right? But it's all shoulda, woulda, coulda. These are all learning things. Everyone in that team, they are winning mentality, and they are players that they will battle till the end. We've seen it. How many times have we seen 1-0 wins and us grind it out, or 2-1 or close things, right? Or how many times have we? I know it can be. You can say it's getting to lesser teams or whatever, but where we've got those late equalizers. Even I know the scoreline for me. One of the big games was Wickham. I know the scoreline, both Wickham games, but particularly the one away. And we won them 4-1. But we come back. Remember, we come from one behind at the beginning, right? It was 2-1 for a long time in that game, and it wasn't until towards the end that we started putting a bit of, we managed to get the other 2 goals, right? I think late 85 and 90 something minute were the other 2 goals anyway.
Didn't we have that good start when it was 2-1? Just like palmed it out and kept it 2.
And this is the other thing about these people and the pressure. Good goalkeepers. And we talked about it, and you guys have talked about it many times on this show. Good goalkeepers get you a certain amount of points a season, right? Good goalkeepers sit on their ass, and if they're sitting on their ass doing nothing, like look at Edison at Man City when they play teams like Norwich, right? Who ain't going to really test his goal. He's doing nothing. But on the odd chance, there's a shot coming in, he's ready. I think any of these games, you think, okay, the Oxford game, he made some good saves. You can't blame him for the goal, right? Think about Milton Keynes Dons away. North makes a silly foul, right? Really silly foul, right? Which is, that's another discussion, right? And it's 94th minute. It's set piece specialist Twine on the ball. Fuck me, here we go. For that whole half, Walton ain't really done nothing. He hasn't had to do anything other than a goal kick here and there. And he comes up with a spectacular save, right? So these are good goalkeepers. You've got players there that it's about, to the end, being switched on, and I think that's what we have. We've got a good group of players. The key for me now is, if we're being realistic and we're saying we skip forward to the end of the season and we're still in this league, the key then is tying down those big players and making sure they stay, making sure your Sam Morsey stays, your Christian Waltons, your Wes Burns, even your the only one out of all our key ones that I'd still be upset to see go, but I wouldn't be as kind of upset would be if Fridge left, because I think we've got a good deputy in Cam. Right, in Cam Burgess, right? But again, obviously, I'd love to keep him. But the reality is, not all these players will be here at the start of the season, right? Some will move on.
Yeah, and obviously you've got the Indabas, the Baggots that are going to be pushing, not for starting positions, but certainly to be that deputy in if not this season.
Well, Indabas probably one that would be so suited to a 3 or a 4. He can play left back. He can play centre back as well. Similar to what JD was as a centre back turn right back turn centre back turn right wing back. Right?
I think if the right offer comes in, I think there is space for a central defence to go out, because Nevada could come straight in as the backup and Burgess go in. But there is still a lot of fat to be trimmed around the club. We've got the Kenlocks that can still go. We've got the Bailey Clements, whether Matt likes it or not, who can still go. There's still a lot of players in that club, who will not get here.
The Sonny Alucos. Sorry, Colin.
No. You leave Aluko alone.
There's an argument for giving Aluko another year, maybe even another year as a coach.
Fuck that, I'll give Aluko a 5 years.
Well, what I'm saying is, rather than think about
lifetime.
rather than think about letting other players go, main players, there's still a lot of fat to be trimmed if we want to improve what we've already got. Everybody's saying, "Oh, we're paying a lot of wages." We are paying a lot of wages, but there's still a lot of wages that we can cut out to make this squad smaller. Yeah, and still replace and keep the good ones that the ones that we know we all want to keep. But if the right offer comes in, if someone comes in and says we'll give you $4 million for Edmondson, and the club says fine, we'll sell him because we're making like £3 million profit and we've got an automatic replacement. That's a no-brainer, But it's got to be, like I said, it's got to be the right offer. It's not Marcus Evans 2.0. We're not going to accept 50p in a packet of crisps. If they don't offer our terms, he stays. We don't need to sell. We don't need to let them go. It's no longer the case where, we've got the whip hand. You might get the odd player floats.
But the only thing I'd say, Stephen, just on that point is, I get what you're saying. We don't need to sell. Like, it was a whole thing with Evans. Yeah, we got your transfer budget is just based on whatever you can make. That was all Evans's thing was, right? But Ashton is a guy who is, and he's been very open about it. He buys to sell. He wants to make that profit.
Oh, I agree.
You look at with the Adam Webster deal. He bought Adam Webster for a couple of million of us, made a fat profit. If I was a championship team, as an example, and I'm looking at players, I'm looking at people like Wes Burns. I'm looking at people like Fridge, like Morsey, who actually I know that we could offer them more money, probably a good transfer fee as well, so a profit on whatever Ipswich have paid. And the question is, how much of a profit and what is the price? Because everyone's got a price.
I agree. That's the point. If they offer what we're setting their price at, say we say Wes Burns is $5 million. If they offer us $5 million, we'll sell him. Because we won't. I'm not saying he's worth $5 million. I'm just saying,
sorry.
like you said, everyone's got a price. We don't know what Marcus Evans is. Mark Ashton's value is for these players. I don't think they'll be low, especially the ones where we've paid out like nearly 7 figures. We're not going to sell them for £2 million. I don't give a shit. That's not a good enough return. I don't think. When you're talking, Mark Ashton was bringing in players for like 300,000 and selling them for $5 million. I don't think he's like thinking about selling them for 50%, 100% profit. He wants more. Which is
only caveat to that though is that previously, that's Mark Ashton, a championship club, a League One club. They have different values. They, look at where I think someone mentioned it before. Madison had a really good time at Coventry, and then he got a move to the Scum from there, and that was only for maybe $1 million, maybe just over.
But I think we're looking into a lot of what ifs and maybes. We've also got to look into the fact of who would buy these players, who's got the money to spend on these players. There's not many championship clubs with a lot of money. You're talking top end championship, and most of them are looking at like Premier League rejects. They're not looking in League One. They're looking at Premier League rejects. Or star players in the championship. So you've got to think to yourself, like, where are they looking? Who are the clubs who are actually looking at us? Most of them will be probably bottom end championship. We could blow all those out of the water on wages. The top end championship, most of them probably aren't looking at us. They're looking a bit higher.
I think what you said just a second ago was probably more spot on the money in the sense of it'll be about trimming the fat. It'll be your Ken Locks and co that aren't part of the plans moving forward that will be moved on, and you'll more or less keep what you've got, but add to it, because as you say, not many teams, particularly after the COVID pandemic, still have got a lot of capital to.
I think there'll be offers, but I think a lot will be rebuffed.
Yeah, I mean, like Andre Dazelle went last year, didn't he? But he went because a clause was met. Would he have gone?
You don't know what clauses are in these contracts that we've got.
Well, no, exactly. But I'm just thinking, would Andre Dazelle have gone to a championship side last year had there not been a clause that that there was? Probably not. And if so, probably for a bit more money. So, but could they have afforded that bit more money? This is what I'm trying to sort of weigh up in what you were saying. I think you're spot on. There's not a lot of clubs with a whole lot of capital. I want to just bring Sid in before we close. Sid, how are you?
How you doing, brother?
How we doing, boys?
How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
Long time no see.
He's right.
Yeah, been busy, mate.
Good man. Earning the pound note, I hear.
Just about, yeah, keeping afloat.
Well, that's all we ask for in these tough times, my friend. Last time I saw you was Millwall at home. We got beat 3-0. Do you remember that day?
No, I was there at Sunderland
I didn't see you at Sunderland.
just before Christmas.
It was.
I remember
I was
seeing
stood
Sid
with
that
you.
day.
It was. We were stood behind you. We were all
Next year.
talking.
Walked back to the car with you. How much did you
It's been
have
a
to
long
drink
season,
that day?
hasn't it? It's been a long season. Was that this year? It's been a long year. Let me show you what Graham's bringing to the party with his team, Sid, and you can tell me what you think of it. Graham, before Sid answers it, talk me through your lineup.
Right, well, I think the back four, sort of Walton, Burgess, Wolf, and Donatian, sort of speak for themselves. Wes Burns or automatic selection, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit of a quandary at left back, left wing back. The way I look at it, if we want to, particularly next year, we want to gate crash into the top two, you need to be looking at all these players being sort of an 8 out of 10 every week. If they're having a slightly off game, there's still a 7 out of 10, where Thompson sort of comes in and he sort of looks like he's maybe starting to fit the role, and then it sort of disappears again. So I'm a bit sort of in the balance on him at the moment. We've got Penny, I guess, who's our own player rather than a loan player that you could bring in. But yeah, I got a bit frustrated on Saturday at Oxford because we were sat the opposite side to the away end, right bang on the halfway line, and the amount of times that he seemed to sort of go forward and then sort of pass the ball and then stop, where you're looking for your wing back, like Burns just sort of just steams down the other wing. You seem a little bit lopsided on the left hand side, and we just draw to a halt. And if you've got your player going forward and then he sort of passes the ball and then doesn't continue with the run to draw defenders with him, the ball, whoever he's given it to, is either going to go crossways or back. There's not an opening to go. So I got a bit frustrated Saturday, but whoever's in the team, I'm going to back them 100%, because I do get sick, particularly of the internet, of reading all this crap about certain players getting pilloried and that. So,
Well, you've made a big talking point there, Graham, because Joe Pickett is your starting striker.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, every time I've seen Joe play, I mean, I go back to the Papa John Trophy game against the Arsenal Crash team that they had at the time, the under sixes from Arsenal or whatever. But he looked, I thought, superb. But he was played by Cook up front by himself, and he was like winning flick-ons, but there was no one from midfield sort of marauding through to pick them up. He was holding the ball up, but there was no one really supporting him. The thing I think about Pigott is when he was at Wimbledon, and you keep reading all this about he got 20, 22 goals, whatever it was, in a poor Wimbledon side. When Wimbledon sort of brought him in, Wimbledon built the team around how Pigott played, and they sort of developed their game to suit Pigott. Whereas Pigott's come in with a lot of big signing, arguably big-ish signings this year with Ipswich, and Pigott's had to come in and fit into the way, firstly, how Cook wanted Ipswich to play, secondly, how McKenna's now getting them to play. And the poor guy, comes off the bench for 10, 15, 20 minutes, doesn't get a game at all, and then he comes in, he's going to look rusty. He's our player. There's been 2 or 3 games recently where he has actually, it's been the width of the post stopped him getting that goal that could get him on a run of goals. So I think if he's played in the right manner, I would personally persevere with him. I mean, Macaulay Bonne, love him to bits. He comes from Chantry, he's one of our own and all that lot. But, I'm one of our own. But would you put a 58-year-old in defence to win us promotion? I think the way Bond's going at the moment, he's almost over trying, because he's so keen to get that goal and get on another run.
Hang on, because Kally, you got Bonnie. I know you want to mention Bonnie yourself, but Sid, I just brought you in.
Piggy.
Talk to me about Pig. What do you think about what Graham's just said in terms of the Wimbledon side and what you've seen? And would you play him on Saturday? What do you think, Sid?
I've never rated him, really. From what I've seen of him, he's not done the business for me when he's had the opportunities. it just doesn't do it for me. I'd rather stick Bon up front or Norwood.
I did speak on one of the shows. I questioned whether Pigott was maybe technically good enough for a McKenna side. Might be a good finisher instinctively in the 6-yard box, but is he good enough with the ball at his feet? Kally?
So yeah, I want to pick up on a Pigott point because
Go for it.
I kind of sorry, Sid. Fucking
You upset him now, look. You've upset him.
Bloody hell.
You've really upset him now, look.
So I do kind of agree with what Graham's saying. I think of our available strikers, and you'll see my team, I think he's the second best option we've got for available strikers.
Yeah, I'll put your team up
right behind Macaulay.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pigott, he's looked good recently, and a lot of that has been because he's played with Jackson and he's played with that type of player. I think that suits him. I was at the Oxford game on the weekend, and I thought he had a really, really poor game. But I saw him at Fleetwood and Morecambe, and I thought he had a decent game, right? And that was because he's with Jackson. And I've looked back at it a few times and thought, well, what is it about Pig? Where? Because there's a player in there, right? And he's a contracted player. It makes sense to try and get the best out of him. But I think the best out of him is when he plays pace up top, so he can hold it, he can play off them, they can make the runs. And as Graeme said, yeah, he could have got a goal or two recently. But Oxford, I thought he was poor, right? If I'm being absolutely fair, I thought he was poor on the weekend. I know he had that chance, and yeah, you can talk about scuff lines. You can talk about maybe, like Kieran Dyer said on his interview yesterday, strikers are all about confidence. Maybe he's low in confidence. But I just don't, as a one up top, I don't see Pigott as that option. So my team there, as you can see, is basically the same, exactly the same as what Graeme had.
It really is.
And again, same reasons. Back four picks itself. Burns, Burns is probably your first name with Sammy Morsey on the team sheet. Thompson, I thought he had a good game. I know he started off shaky, and as I said on the show the other day, I got into a few fans that had some shit to say about him. And like I say, all the time at the games, support your teams. I think he's a good option, Thompson. I agree, he needs to get forward a bit more, but I think he's a left back playing as a wing back. He's still a young player. So I'd like to see. I think there's something there. He can offer something better than. And I think Penny's a good player. I just think Thompson is a better player and a better option. And then up top, it's simple. I think Macaulay. I don't know if it's a turning point or something, but that Oxford game, and we've seen Bond play recently under McKenna. And one of my biggest gripes with him, apart from the offside thing, and he strays offside, and to be fair to him, some of it is bad decisions by the linos, right? Because a couple of times when we've seen the game, we're in line with it, and we're like, how the fuck have you called that offside? But it was all of a sudden, from the beginning of the season, he was winning all the flick-ons and everything and all the headers. Yeah. And then he was just getting bullied. Well, I don't know if bullied or whatever, right? But he wasn't winning that. Saturday, come on. Every single header, probably bar one, he won, right? Either the link-up play, the hold-up play, everything. He looked like he's turning a corner and he's back to where he needs to be. And if he finds form now and he can start firing us some goals, so be it, right? He's a good striker. We talked about at the beginning when he went on a hot form, he was going to have a kind of drought. And okay, the drought's taken longer than we expected. Part of that is, you got to change a manager, big expectation. He's an Ipswich boy. He feels it. You see him. We sit in the North Stand, right? You see him at the games when we Portsmouth last week and we're desperately trying to get a goal. And he's there rallying up the crowd, right? He's doing that. He is Ipswich through and through, so he does feel it and he feels the pressure. He's the best striker we have at our club. Right, and these are the facts, right? Jackson's up there, I think, especially under McKenna, and then Pigott. Norwood, I know he had it. I call it a purple patch. Nothing against him. The guy seems like a nice guy and all the rest of it. But I'll be getting rid of him in the summer. He's too old now. He's gonna be 31, 32. Right? Yeah. He wants to play first team. He ain't gonna get first team spot here.
Just a couple of points. Yeah, I agree with Kally. I think a lot of people haven't got on Thompson's back. I think there is a player in there, and he got a lot better as that game went on. I think the wind was causing him problems in the first half because that must be horrible playing with that wind, with that stand missing. And I think that caused him a problem, but he got better as the game went on. Regarding Bon and Pigott, and I think Graham's got a point. Wimbledon was built around Pigott. Now, we are never going to build a team around Pigott. If that's what he expected, I'm sorry, that was never going to happen. You know, so if that's the situation, then he's the wrong player for us. Yeah, I know he's our player, but we have to. If he's not going to fit into the system he wants to play, he's not going to fit. You know, and he has played well, but I think he's played well, like Kally said, when there's been somebody there like Jackson, and he's been like in a two, or at the beginning when he played with Bon, and they had like one in front of the other. He played well in that because he had support. On his own, he looks lost. He looks like, I get the ball, what do I do with it? And he panics and he doesn't know what to do with it because there's nobody there to pass it to, you know. So it's all well and good saying, yeah, we want him to do well. We all want everyone to do well. But unfortunately, we all know some of these signings aren't going to work. And I think he's going to be one of them. And I think that's
do you think Cook maybe went for him in the summer to stop some of our arguable promotion rivals getting him? Because there was a lot of teams that were in for him, weren't there?
I think was he a Cook signing? That's the question.
It was like the Charlie Whites and the Charlie Whites and the Pigots. There was all this hype in the media around him. I don't know whether that had any effect, you know, but I don't know. But I'll just go off what Kieran McKenna was saying earlier on. He was saying, like, you know, to me, that was the best 45 minutes I've seen Macaulay Bonne play. You know, when your manager says that after a match, you're pretty much guaranteed to start. And I'm reading that into that. When your manager says that was probably the best 45 minutes I've seen someone play, I'm thinking he's already laying the groundwork to say, well, he's starting on Saturday. I think he's probably already been told he's starting on Saturday. And he's laying a marker down to him saying, I want more of that. And I want more. You know, if you want to be in my team, you give me that, but for longer.
Yeah. Can't argue with that. Some really well articulated points on the Bonne Piggott debate. I just want to, before you round up, Sid, I think both gentlemen have a Luco in their lineups. They do, a Luco and Selena and a Luco and Selena. Would you have a Luco and Selena? What has Connor Chaplin got to do? I mean, he put that sublime pre-assist through on Saturday.
Oh, did you say pre-assist?
Well, I want to make sure everyone knew what I was talking about.
Clip it up, 1 minute 16. Clip that shit up.
Because for me, as Craig from Portsmouth says in the chat, if Portsmouth turned up with a number 10, the same stats as a Luco's record, would we have been scared of him? Because I certainly wouldn't. Would you go with the two lads, start a Luco with Selena or Chaplin, or is he actually number 3 out of the 3 10s that we've got? How do you see a Luco, Sid?
I'd start a Luco every game. I prefer Chaplin over Selena because for me, Selena, he'll get the ball as much as he can score an absolute worldie. He'll go forward and he'll do too many step overs and lose the ball where he could have released it a couple of seconds earlier. That's how I've seen it all year.
He's pissed. He's had a few.
But what does a Luco bring?
I'm
then?
genuinely being serious here.
So what does a Luco bring? What does he bring that really, you know, as
the
a fan
pre-assist
excites
king?
You
mean the pre-assist king?
Bit of absolute class and technical ability.
Yeah, it's like glue in it. The ball's like glue to him. He draws the fouls. The only thing is, like, I just wouldn't play Chaplin and Selena together. And you could interchange the two. I think Chaplin's more effective through the middle. So my formation, I've got him kind of playing wide. So I would have Selena more on the left. I thought he's done quite well when he's been pushed out on the wide as well. As a 10, like for me, Chaplin is a 10 or a striker. He's not going to... I haven't been impressed when on the odd games he's played out wide. But Selena and Chaplin, for some reason, they just don't play well together. They haven't clicked together.
This is where I have to disagree because, you know, although they're all very good points and they're perfectly well made, and Luco is a fabulous player, and I love watching him play. You know, let's be perfectly honest. The goal came because of Chaplin's ball to Burns and Burns' crossing to Selena. So to say they can't play together, was completely destroyed on Saturday when they did play together.
So one, no, hold on, because I want to come back on that point now, right?
I know you fucking do. I know you do.
Right, let's pick this up, right? So we're talking about your pre-assist there. Yeah, pre-assist king is Sonny Aluko.
No, we're talking about pass.
Yeah, which was the pre-assist.
You.
Okay, that pass that made the assist or whatever, right? Yes. Aluko does that many times for many of our goals, right?
I've seen one.
You've seen one?
Yeah, the one to Penny. I'm on about the long ball. One ball was the one to Penny that Bonne scored.
I never thought this would be the controversial topic. All right, boys, score prediction, please, because it is an hour and 20.
I think it's harsh. I would play a Luco, but I think it'd be harsh.
But let's finish this point because you're saying it's one ball, but then you're saying the point about Chaplin and Selena works based on one ball. So which one is it? You can't say it's one ball for this and that's not good enough.
No, but
and
you're
it's one
arguing
ball
that
for
Austin, it
Chaplin and
doesn't-
Selena.
I'm just saying, I think I would play a Luco because I think
What
he's
do I
better
do?
player for the game. Yeah. And I'm not bothered who's done what and what's done what. I'd pick the team for the game. And I think a Luco would be the better player for the game. But it would be harsh on Chaplin because I think he played well on Saturday. That's all I'm saying.
Point. Good point. Well made, Parry. What's your score prediction, sir?
2-1 to 10.
Love it. Love it. Prediction playoffs, yes or no? What's your heart say? I don't want no sit on the fence bullshit. If we win the right amount of games, I want what are you thinking? Yes or no? Playoffs.
Yes.
Love it. Love you, Parry. Look after yourself. Sid, score prediction, please, sir.
Can't be there, so I'm absolutely gutted. But I'm
Why?
hoping for a Mrs. birthday. Don't.
He's under the thumb, isn't he? He's under the thumb.
Don't.
She's
Just
probably had a
don't
few of
even
those
go
already.
there.
Don't
What's
worry.
that on your forehead? Is that a fun mark, mate?
Well, there.
Well, what would you like it to be, sir?
1-0.
1-0. Playoffs, yes or no?
No.
Sid, we appreciate you. We don't love that last comment, no. Good to have him back on the platform. Graeme, score prediction, please.
It's going to be 1-0 Wes Burns.
1-0 Wes Burns. Playoffs, yes or no?
I've been very confident up until these draws. My brain's saying no, but my heart's saying yes.
So which one are you going to go with?
Sitting on the fence, you got to go with one.
I think we're going to just miss out, unfortunately.
Okay, that's 2 no's, 1 yeses. Mike D, the way we dominate the ball, we should have known how to provide number 9 with the chances. That's what K-Mac needs to sort. Lewis Robinson, Joe Pickett's a good footballer. Agree with Matt and Mike D, not playing to his strengths, leaving him isolated. And he also says Pickett's damaged by our fans. Takes me to say he's shit. Need to support our players. I think it's what you were alluding to there, Mr. Brook Kally. Score prediction, please.
I'm going 3-1 Town.
And playoffs, yes or no?
Yeah, and that's me about goal scorers yet.
Don't care about the goal scorers.
Well, no, I'm going to give you the goal scorers as well in the order.
Go on in. Go on in.
All right, first
minute.
All right, first goal, we're going to have Wes Burns. He's going to just tear down, chop some people up, break some ankles. I'm going first 15 minutes, Burns top corner, bang, in front of the Sir Ralph stand. We go in 44 minutes, they equalise. Shit, 1-1 at half time, right?
No.
Doesn't matter, K-Mac rallies the troops. 56 minutes and about 32 seconds. We get a corner, Wolfie rises, bang into the north stand, 2-1, right? Holding on, squeaky bum time, 91st minute, Sammy Morsey run into the box, bottom corner in front of the north stand, 3-1, Ipswich, we win, playoffs are still on. Until it's mathematically possible, the playoffs are still on.
And then your alarm goes off.
Yeah.
Love it.
3-1,
Right.
3-1 Town and playoffs.
We're back Friday, 8:30 with the final thoughts as we head into it. Graeme, appreciate you coming on. Really good to have you back on the platform. Love the shirt. Hopefully it's a good luck charm for this Saturday. Kally, I'll see you at the weekend. I'll leave you all. And don't forget you can support us through Ko-Fi. I'll leave you all, as we've spoken about him tonight, with Mr. Sonny.